My MIL announced my miscarriage at dinner, and I announce her affair on her anniversary party. They always say bad news should be shared gently, but my mother-in-law didn't believe in gently. She believed in timing it perfectly, right when everyone was listening, forks in hand, laughter still hanging in the air, right when there was nowhere for me to run. We were seated around the dining table like a picture from a family magazine. Warm lights, passing plates, normal conversation, and then she cleared her throat. I remember the sound of the glass tapping, sharp, confident, the kind of sound that makes a room obey. My heart dropped before she even spoke, like my body somehow knew what was coming. She smiled at me first, that smile, the one that never reached her eyes. "Well," she said, loud and casual, "since we're all together, I guess everyone should know she lost the baby." The words didn't land. They hit hard, sudden, public. I felt every pair of eyes swing toward me, confused, curious, awkward, waiting for me to explain something I was still trying to survive. My hands started shaking under the table. My husband stood up so fast his chair scraped the floor. And my mother-in-law? She leaned back, satisfied. What she didn't know, what she couldn't know, was that she wasn't the only one sitting at that table with a secret. While she thought she'd just humiliated me beyond repair, she'd actually handed me the mic. Because buried under my shock and grief was a truth I'd been carrying quietly for weeks, a truth about late-night phone calls, about a gym membership she never used, about a name that kept popping up on her screen when she thought no one was looking. And in that moment, when my worst pain became her dinner conversation, I realized something terrifying and powerful at the same time. If she was willing to expose my deepest wound in front of everyone, why should I protect hers? Before that dinner, things with my mother-in-law were complicated but quiet, the kind of tension that lives in polite smiles and carefully chosen words. She wasn't openly cruel. She was worse, sweet in public, sharp in private. Compliments that felt like inspections, questions that felt like traps. My husband and I had been married 2 years, and from day one, she treated our life like a group project she was in charge of. What we ate, where we lived, when we should have kids, especially that part. Every visit came with a comment, "You're not getting any younger. I want to be a grandmother while I can still enjoy it." She laughed when she said it, but I felt the pressure every time. When I found out I was pregnant, we decided to keep it quiet, just us, just for a while. I wanted to protect something that felt fragile and sacred. But then came the miscarriage, sudden, devastating. One day planning names, the next day sitting in a sterile room staring at the floor while a doctor spoke too softly. I didn't want sympathy, I didn't want opinions, I wanted time. So we told no one, not friends, not family, especially not her. The invitation came 2 weeks later, a family night, she called it. Everyone would be there. I almost didn't go, but my husband said it might help, that normalcy could be good for us. I trusted him. What I didn't know was that she'd already noticed things, the canceled appointments, the quiet, the way I stopped dodging baby questions and just went silent instead. And what she didn't know, what no one knew, was that while I was grieving, I'd accidentally learned something about her, something I never asked to find out, something I told myself I'd take to my grave to keep the peace. So we walked into that house carrying our grief, and she walked into that dinner carrying a bomb. After she said it, after the words "lost the baby" settled into the room like smoke, everything moved in slow motion. No one spoke. Someone cleared their throat. My sister-in-law stared at her plate like it personally betrayed her. I could feel the heat crawling up my neck, my heart pounding so loud I was sure everyone could hear it. My husband snapped first. He demanded to know how she knew. His voice was shaking, raw with anger and fear, but she waved him off like an annoying child. She said she put the pieces together, said she was only being honest, said families shouldn't keep secrets from each other. That word, secrets, echoed in my head. I stared at her and suddenly noticed how calm she looked. Too calm, like she'd rehearsed this moment, like she expected tears, maybe even an apology from me for not telling her sooner. Instead, she got silence, mine. Because while everyone else was processing the shock, my mind was racing through things I'd tried to forget. The night she asked me to fix her phone because technology hates her. The message that popped up from a contact saved as Jim Mark. The way she lunged for the phone too late. The panic in her eyes. At the time, I'd convinced myself it wasn't my business. I told myself I was grieving, that I didn't have room for anyone else's mess. I told myself keeping quiet made me the bigger person. Now she was looking at me like I owed her something. She started talking again, filling the silence with fake concern, saying how hard miscarriages are, how she'd read articles, how strong she thought I was. Every word felt like salt. My hands clenched in my lap. My chest felt tight, like I was trapped underwater. Then my father-in-law shifted uncomfortably. He wouldn't meet her eyes. That's when I realized this wasn't just my secret anymore. There were cracks forming, glances being exchanged, questions no one was asking out loud. And the longer she spoke, the clearer it became. She wasn't trying to comfort me, she was trying to control the story. And I was seconds away from deciding whether to stay silent or finally tell the truth. The room felt like it was shrinking. Her voice kept going, soft and syrupy, like she was the victim in all this. She reached across the table, trying to take my hand. That's when I pulled away. I stood up before I fully realized I was doing it. My legs were shaking, but my voice didn't. It came out calm, clear, final. "No," I said. Everyone looked at me. "You don't get to do this," I continued. "You don't get to turn my loss into a family announcement and then pretend it's about love." She opened her mouth, probably to correct me, probably to cry. I didn't let her. "But since we're talking about honesty," I said, forcing myself to look straight at her, "maybe we should talk about your secrets too." Her face drained of color. The table went dead silent. Even the clock on the wall felt loud. I said his name, Mark. I said where they met, the gym. I said how late the calls were, how often, how the messages stopped only when she realized someone else might see them. She laughed once, a sharp, broken sound, said I was lying, said I was emotional, said grief makes people imagine things. Then my father-in-law stood up. He didn't yell, he didn't cry, he just pushed his chair back slowly and said her name the way someone does when they already know the truth, when they've been waiting to hear it out loud. She went silent. That's when everything collapsed. She started talking all at once, excuses, blame, denial, then finally tears, real ones this time. She looked around the table, searching for someone to save her. No one did. I grabbed my coat. My husband followed without hesitation. As we walked out, I realized my hands weren't shaking anymore. She had tried to break me in front of everyone. Instead, she'd exposed herself. The drive home was quiet, not the awkward kind, just heavy. My husband kept one hand on the wheel and one wrapped around mine like he was anchoring me to the present. No one spoke until we pulled into our driveway and sat there with the engine off, the night humming around us. "I'm sorry," he finally said, not because of what I did, but because of what I'd been put through. The fallout came fast after that dinner. Calls, messages, family group chats suddenly going silent. By morning, everyone knew the truth, not just about her affair, but about the way she'd chosen to weaponize my grief. Some people tried to both sides it, most didn't. My father-in-law moved out within the week. She stopped showing up to family events altogether. She never apologized to me, not really. There were texts that danced around the word sorry without ever landing on it. I didn't respond. What surprised me most wasn't losing her, it was the relief, the quiet, the way my grief finally had room to breathe without someone else narrating it. I went to therapy. I cried in private. I healed slowly, unevenly, honestly. Months later, someone asked me if I regretted what I did. I thought about that table, the glass tapping, the eyes on me, the moment my pain became entertainment, and I said no, because there's a difference between revenge and self-respect. I didn't stand up to hurt her. I stood up because I deserved dignity in my worst moment. Some secrets aren't meant to be protected, especially when silence only protects the person who caused